Wishing you a healthy, happy and fulfilling 2025. As we step into this new year, I hope it brings you growth, clarity and moments that spark joy and inspiration. Here's to overcoming challenges, embracing new opportunities and making a difference. Not just for ourselves, but for those around us. Welcome to Journeys of Empowerment. I'm your host, Michiel Soetjiet-Rijt. And we all want to make a difference, right? But life can be tough. This podcast is about learning from role models who face challenges, overcome them, and spark real change. Your journey to unlock potential starts now. And before we dive in, a quick shout out to our sponsor Neotopia, creating real lasting change. What Neotopia does best is spark agency by helping managers step into their role as influencers of positive behavior. It's not about control, it's about empowering teams through positive reinforcement that makes a difference. If that resonates, check out neotopia.nl. Today's episode holds a special place for me. As a former Marine, I couldn't be more proud and honored to sit down with Robin Imthorn, a fellow Marine, author, public speaker and someone whose journey of resilience and healing is nothing short of inspiring. Robin's story begins with the heart of personal struggle, growing up as a sensitive boy in a tough family environment, facing bullying at school and leads him to answer the call to serve. His deployments to Afghanistan tested him in unimaginable ways, and while the battles overseas ended, the internal fight with PTSD brought its own challenges. What makes Robin's story remarkable isn't just what he endured, it's how he chose to heal and grow. Through marathons, storytelling and ultimately writing his book, Life's Fire, Levensvuur, Robin has found purpose in turning pain into something powerful for others. In our conversation, Robin shares hard truth about trauma, the strength it takes to seek help, and how pushing physical limits became part of his recovery. For anyone who's faced adversity or felt the weight of their past, this episode is a reminder that we're not alone and resilience lives in all of us. Let's dive in. So excited that you're here. Not only as former Marine, but also as a friend and also really looking forward to your book launch, what we for and the 14th of January, right?
Yeah, 14th of January.
Welcome, Robin. I'm really glad that you're here.
Thanks, mate.
Yes. Hey, and before we go to it's life of journey, journeys of empowerment.
Yeah.
It's about your personal journey.
Yeah.
It's about your professional journey. But when it comes to a Marine, it's almost an identity, right?
It's a power.
It's for sure. It's for sure a power. Who was Robin before he became a Marine? Let's go in right away, deep dive into who was Robin before he was a Marine.
Really sensitive boy, I think. You don't know really who you are, and you're changing constantly, of course, who you are. So that's something that develops. But when I was younger, I was like, I grew up in a family of four kids. Mm-hmm. My younger brother was a little bit autistic, how you call it. So he had some problems, and he was in his child support program, stuff like that. And my older brother was oftentimes more aggressive, but eventually has schizophrenia. And so my connection with my sister was, of course, a lot more because the other two got a lot of attention and we grew more towards each other.
Yes.
At home, mother and father, they're both still alive, and the connection with my mother is a little bit more than my father. My father was always at work, and it was just a sensitive boy, just trying to figure stuff out, and I never figured it really out. But that was life. I just grew up in the Netherlands in a small town, and I was always outside, just and first it was playing soccer all the time, and after that it was oftentimes just creating havoc around the neighborhood. Yeah.
No, you?
Yeah.
I can't imagine you doing that.
Yeah, that was me, man. That was just always seeking attention, of course, and yeah.
That I can imagine. Also because of the fact that most of the attention went to your two brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what impact for you does it have growing up with two brothers with such a background? And
so you're stuck in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So you're just figuring out life, and you've got all your sensitivities, but it feels like there is no room for it. So there's no room for the sensitivity that you're experiencing, and you're always adapting. You know, always like, and that's something what I talk about in my book also, is what I reflect upon, is that I know how to survive. I know how to adapt, and I constantly have to adapt at their situation. But also, my parents oftentimes told me, just leave them alone, so that you can. So it's always, it felt for me always like it was my fault. Like I just have to keep them alone. Don't antagonize them, right? Just don't irritate them, and everything will be fine at home. But yeah, you're a small young boy, and you have your conflicts, you know. And one of the things that was really interesting is my older brother was aggressive also, you know, and he hit me at a certain point, and my mother said to me, well, then you shouldn't have irritated him, you know. And it was something that was constantly going on. Also, I had a nice home, right? It was my parents loved me, I know, and they took care of me, and it's not all negative, but oftentimes those are the things that stick with you, and where you reflect upon, and that seem to carry the most weight, and the positive things just like there was a lot of positive, and it was fun because I talked to my sister yesterday it was, and we were both like we also were raised religious, and we never fit in there, you know. We're always, how you call it,
the outliers.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, we both my sister and I were always like, "Fun, is it really so?" Always questioning everything, and we really
it's a healthy trait, right? To always questioning the assumptions and always questioning
authority.
Oh, that's interesting. Marines and authority and always questioning. That's for later.
It's part of my life story, questioning everything always, and it brought me a lot of trouble. And also the religious, when we went to church, and I was always in trouble there, because is it really so? All right, why are you saying? And we were talking about it, and she was like, I was like, well, where does this come from? And we were both like, it's our mother. And she was always saying to us, so it's a really positive thing, find your own path, you know. Just do your own thing.
That's great.
Don't let anyone tell you how you should live your life. Just do your thing, and just be you, and just make choices on your own. If you want to leave something, leave it behind. Make your own choices. So that's something fun that sticks, and that's a positive thing.
That's very positive and very valuable for the rest of your life. Carries that. You will carry that the rest of your life with you, right?
Yeah.
Because not long ago I heard a podcast of a friend of mine, and he grew up also in a very religious family, and he was always questioning, and I can say freely his name because the podcast is out, and it's Johan from We Love Saas, but he grew up very religious, but also in an environment where things shouldn't be questioned, and that I think my assumption is that really sparked and something in him to question everything. So, so he never fitted in, and he found his own way. And but having a mother encouraging you to always be you, and that's profound. That's a profound impact for you both. Okay, cool. And school life. Then you went to school and everything went smooth, and you were a straight A student and.
Straight, how you call it? Straight F student.
That's the highest. The other way around.
So, yeah, school was difficult for me because socially I just missed some marks because of how I grew up. I really lived in my own world, my own fantasy world. And when I got to school, you just have to fit in, and I had to figure this a couple of years because before I figured it out, I got bullied a lot because I was small and I just didn't fit in. And it was difficult time for me. And yeah, sitting in the benches, just listening to things, it didn't spark anything. I was always drawing in my books, just like tanks and stuff like that, and military or fantasy stuff. I was always drawing and never really paying attention. It's in the third grade that that I had to show my homework and to my dad, and he said there was nothing to show. So that
except for tanks and military strategies.
Yeah.
And,
so yeah. Then you're when the pressure's on, something happens, and I figure it out. So that's something that sticks with me. When the pressure is on, I just make it happen. Yeah. So I work well under pressure. And he said, just you have to get back. Yeah, you have to figure it out, or you'll stay in third grade. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then I'm gonna move on. And just figured out all my homework and started learning a little bit more, just enough to pass to the fourth and do my exam there. And my exam was like, and it's I say 6, 6, 6, 5, 5, and a 10 for like physical, you know.
Oh yeah, and then it all adds up, and the average was right away.
Yeah, and I always it's a school, so I never felt that someone really believed in me there. It was always like this. You will not figure it out. You're in Dutch class also when you have to. Yeah, it was not by. Yeah, and now I've written a book now, so
yeah. I can you imagine.
Yeah. So and it's all, but this is all just trust. You know, give somebody a little bit trust, a little bit of that. Say something to somebody just to make him feel that he belongs there, and that goes a long way, because that's something after school. I go to the military. And then that's something that gets said to me from, all right, the trust is in, and then I grow, you know, and I just, but it's always been, school has been like something that I had to do before I could move on to the military, because that was my dream.
Ah, okay. So that was your dream. So you were aiming for, okay, I have to finish this, and then I can, because at what age did you knew that you want to become a soldier, military, and in the end, a Marine? What age?
Like 6 or 7 or so that I really knew it. Yeah, it was like, from all right, I want to join the military. It was my grandmother who told stories about the Second World War and about the military, and always went to the museum there. So it's something that I grew up with. And in school, I just was a time that I thought I could be a history teacher, because I really enjoyed that stuff.
That part, yeah.
But that meant I had to learn more. So so that wasn't really my take.
Theoretical learning, right?
Yeah, from books and stuff. So that wouldn't be really my take. It was like,
as author of a book now.
yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah.
No.
And but my parents, they also pushed me like, just join the military. So, yeah. And what age did you enter you didn't start as a Marine, eh? I started the army.
Yeah.
Like 16 and a half.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah. I was like going from school to MBO, you call it in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And from that MBO to the military, just like 1 year MBO, and it also was mandatory.
As a sort of key to enter the...
Yeah, but I had to get some certificates in security and stuff like that, but I didn't learn for it, of course, and I was like, don't give a shit. I just want to join the military. This is my dream. Let's go. And that's what I went for. So
16 and a half. So you for sure you needed a signature from your parents, but they were happy to give that.
Yeah, because it meant leaving home and they could live their own life. So that was.
I can imagine I was 17 when entering the Marines, and I still vividly remember that my adoption mother asked me, but you're not going to do any crazy stuff and dangerous stuff, and no, of course not Marines, and only training here in the Netherlands and then in Norway, and then that was my pitch, and then I got the signature, and then I said, right away we go to Cambodia, and we are the first group, so we don't know what we will find there after 30 years of oppression with Pol Pot regime. So sorry, but thanks for the signature.
Thank you. No,
thank you. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. And all right. So then there your military stuff and the bullying. Was that only in that phase, in that stage of your life?
Well, the bullying at school, it gave me a hard shell, so I also learned how to survive, and I did judo from a young age, so I could manage myself, and I also managed myself at school, so I took care of the bullies physically, and that got me some good attention, and but you start surviving, you start figuring out, and you start building a shell. Like, all right, you think you can hurt me? Well, that's not going to happen. And in the military also there was some bullying, but I fitted more in because I just show what I got. And but bullying at some point it always returns. Now, I think oftentimes we don't recognize it as bullying, but when you have been bullied, then you recognize it immediately when somebody is bullying or somebody else, or you feel the injustice, and that's something that stick with me. Yeah.
Do you see that also around in our marine life, really bullying, the same kind of feeling that gave you then, not maybe to you, but in general? Do you see that? Because when I have conversations with people who are working in big corporates, there is a certain form of bullying still around, and give them still the same feeling. So, what do you see?
It works both ways, of course, because when you're in a survival state and when you have been bullied, so you're vulnerable in that sort of state. So it's easy to go in a sort of victimhood, and it feels like the world's bullying you, but oftentimes it's not. You're just not fitting in, and that's also okay. But the bully doesn't recognize what he's doing, and it's always when you don't fit in, you fall outside. And the Marines is something you fit in or not. And that's something that's sometimes difficult. And
on the other hand, that's why I got back to the bullying. On the one hand, it's a curse, and on the other hand, it's also it does something to you, with you, and if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger and more resilient. Because if I look at your life, one of the key words what pops up in my mind is resilience. Yeah. And I think a lot of resilience we build already before becoming a Marine and before going to the war zone is resilience from your upbringing. And resilience, when I look at your upbringing, and we go fast, we only have an hour, so how deep can we go? But you shared already your two youngest brothers. The bullying, it's easier said than done to overcome, but it has a severe impact, and but also a supporting mother. So there, and also the church. There's a lot of elements, and you can come out like you did, or you can come out and stay the victim. And somewhere you made a choice, maybe not deliberate, but somewhere in you. Later on, you made deliberate choices. Either I stay the victim, and we will touch upon later. But for now, there is some path in you. There's some strength in you. Let's say, it is like it is. This is me, and I want to become a military, and but there is something in you that says, okay, but just go, let me be me.
Yeah, follow my own path. I think.
Yeah,
this is knowing just to follow my own heart, your own path, and then it happens unconsciously. I think in younger age, but there was always a fighting spirit in me. So that's something I don't know where that came from, but it's always been there. And but maybe we jump too fast over the bullying stuff, because it can be really heavy when you're suffering from it right now. And when you look upon your past life, you're like, it may hurt that much that you doubt yourself, you have doubts in your life, you doubt about you, and it's all the phases you go through with bullying, because you think it's you, but it's not you.
No,
it's them, and that's a difficult thing to understand. It's not you. It's not you. It's really not, and that's something. Of course, when you stay the victim, everything feels heavier, but it's not you. You just don't fit in that place, and you have to find your own place. You have to find the people around you who appreciate you and the values you stand for, and that's something that's fun, because when I joined the military, I always I really moved out of my house, my parents' house, really fast, and I felt like, move, please go away. I always felt like that, please, and that's something that's also difficult to master. But I was like, so I had my own studio. I was just fucking shit up, because I had my own studio, didn't pay the bills, that I was like, I didn't understand shit, and it was like, all right, when I got back from Norway or something, I was like, all right, now I have enough money again. I slept at the base oftentimes in my sleeping bag just because I had no money. But I met my neighbor, was Bert, and we're still friends still, and he's like 8-9 years old or something like me, also in that period, and we both watched South Park. Yeah. And then we started watching it together, and we started drinking together, and it was fun, but we're totally different. I'm really that military guy, really that moving forward, and he's like more his own stuff. So we're so totally different, but our values, they are the same. And we see each other for each other. So we see what's right and what's wrong, because injustice we cannot take. We're honest to each other. So those are things you build upon, and it's not the shell, because we couldn't live together because we have so much fun together, and we're totally different. So many years apart, live our lives totally different. I exercise a lot, he doesn't, but I don't hold it against him or stuff. It's like the values, the base values, like honesty, injustice, stuff like that. You just match, and that's something you can build upon. So it doesn't matter who you are eventually.
Is that some sort of also, because I was looking for some sort of advice for people who are suffering now from bullying? What can we share with them, maybe to do or to not to do, or some piece of advice?
Well, yeah,
difficult.
It's difficult because it's so personal. But talk about it with somebody. That's always, and often find it it's difficult. But don't talk to your bully about it. Yeah. Or smack him in the face. No, that's the worst advice, maybe. But when I was younger, that's something that I did to my bully. I just smacked him in the face and just hit him, pounded him till he could get no more. And that was like, so that's also something that worked. But I would not advise it to anybody. No, but really just talk about it and share how you feel about it, and don't think it as weak, but feel it as something you have to do to overcome, and talk about it to people. Oftentimes understand more than less, and sometimes we think nobody will understand me or they will judge me about it, but just try it.
And a lot of people feel ashamed, maybe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
To speak about it, and
and that's something I also feel always, because before I have to tell something what I feel vulnerable about or I'm ashamed about, then I always feel hesitant to talk about it. But that's something I know the hesitant thing to talk about it. That's for me a signal to talk about it. And to overcome
really talk about it. Yes,
and that's not being the victim anymore.
No, great. And before we go before we move forward, there was one thing that you said and that resonated with me. You said, I was always in some sort of way fighting. But does that mean you were always also angry? And therefore fighting, or fighting like the challenge of fighting? So out of anger or out of challenge?
Both, I think. I was a lot of time angry. Yeah, angry at the situation at home, but you don't have the words yet to figure it out. But not being seen made me angry. So not being there, not being seen for the person that I am, made me just angry and just wanted to feel loved, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And when you don't feel loved
and seen and heard and understood,
you get angry.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a job that I in the military that I could be angry a lot of the times, you know, and just do and do stuff from anger, you know, and just enjoyed it a lot. And just of course part running away, but finding also a purpose in life.
Yeah, and you did, right?
Yeah.
And was it already very early clear what your purpose and path in life was, or is it something that grew organically?
No, you have ambitions, and then you go follow those ambitions. And but I was always adventurous in a sort of way, so always something new, and I was a lot away from home. But it's something that I liked really, you know. But I didn't really was conscious about it. I just followed my inner feeling, just moved on.
Your gut
on.
and
yeah. A lot of times I just followed my gut, but it was also the scared of not. So I was always trying to fit in, you know, and that's something. Yeah, but my face just portrayed differently. so when authority in the Marines is a big thing, of course, and when I was operational, when I got out of my courses and when operational was my face would always show what I really thought.
Skeptical
it was always all right. I think it differently, and that's something that's of course really difficult. And
it shows really over your face that you thought differently, right?
Yeah, you could see it from a mile away, right? Just like from right.
Let's go deeper into the marine path. When was your first tour to?
My first real tour, of course, I went foreign in the years before that, but 2005 I went for the first time to Afghanistan. Yeah.
Okay, and before that, the training, like the cold weather training, and
no, I was living on Aruba, so I was,
okay,
difficult life.
Yeah, that's very hard. That's tough. That's the toughest. That's the toughest of the toughest, and it's only for the hardest of the Marines, right?
No, only for the best.
Yeah, right. Okay. And what happens there stays there, right?
Yeah. I was always young. I went there with a girlfriend at home, but it would ended like 2 weeks later, you know, because I was, you have money, you're on your own, you're with only guys, and you're like, and then every day, every weekend there's a new cruise with women coming there, you know, and it's like in the downtime you're like always chasing that, and you have a lot to do. You have to all those exercises in the jungle
training,
like all stuff like that. So that's it's just fun living life, and that's something. But after 9 months, I could extend that stay, and I didn't want to because I want to just follow up marine life more and just be home.
Operational again. Marine, and ultimately in 2005 for the first tour to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And what can you tell us about the first tour? How was that?
Well, I really loved it, really, because I was doing my marine work, so that was really something fun. I was with experienced guys. I wasn't that experienced then, and the guys that were in Iraq and stuff like that. So I really learned from them and learned how to do stuff. And you know, it's a hard world, so that's something you learn fast, and that's good. And but I really enjoyed it, and just having the responsibility and doing stuff, and that So I really liked that, and was, of course, it's a culture shock when you come to Afghanistan. And
how long was the tour?
Like 3 months or so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's long. That's long enough to make a sphere impact, right? 3
Yeah.
months, and then after that you come home and you can go to the big to order a Big Mac. That's a really strange feeling.
It's
right?
really strange, and
Total different world.
You grow up, and your friends are still like 20 years old in that age, and your friends are just partying and at school and stuff like that, and you come back from Afghanistan the first time, But no, it was my first tour. My first tour was in Macedon with the army.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So my first Marine tour was Afghanistan, and my first army tour was like 18 years old. I went to Macedon for political issues, and so another 18-year-old in one vehicle riding around Macedon, and just yes, it's crazy.
That's
18
crazy.
years old, 18. You're just a kid. You're really just a kid, and you experience those things. And and then Afghanistan in 2005 with the Marines, my first tour, and of course a culture shock, and for the first time seeing colleagues getting wounded. It's something.
Tough.
Yeah, but you just move along, you just that's something that's of course difficult, but you just move on in the momentum, and then you come home again, and then you move on to the next course you want to do. You got your winter Arctic
training,
Arctic mountain training. You get your specialties, and stuff like that, and you just go on to the next one.
And the next tour, when was that?
2009. So
Okay.
2009 I went to Afghanistan for the second time, and then to Oerskan was like some 6 months or so.
Take us to that tour.
Yeah, so that was really different from the first one. The first one was really, I wouldn't call it low key, but this one really was always happening stuff, and it was always when you go, when we arrived there in the base camp, it's like the first rockets were coming in already, and stuff like that, and it was just normal. and after that, you go on your patrols and you talk to the guys that are, or you are taking over from, the Marines before, and it was like, all right, we had a lot of angels, and it was like, we had a lot of luck, and that's something that, you take with you, because we hope also we have a lot of luck, but you feel a little bit immortal at some point. You're like, all right, we're Marines, we take care of this, and that's a feeling you have to carry, because otherwise you doubt everything, and then you get hurt when you doubt. So, but it's like we're 3 weeks in, and another patrol of us has already been fired upon and stuff like that. And for me, it's the first time in my life I get fired upon, and then we hit our first IED. That's improvised explosive device that explodes, and my sergeant gets hurt, and he's down on the ground, and then that's something really strange. But you just do your Marine work, and you do what you have to do. But it's really strange when somebody really gets hurt and cannot move on anymore. So it's a possibility that you also can get hurt and maybe not get home.
Yeah, I have to take that one in, because that's deep, and that leaves a profound impact on you and imprint on you. And in what tour was the tour actually where you got PTSD, right? Yeah,
and we'll get to that after, and it's in a couple of days that happens a lot, but also this is after the situation I just explained about the sergeant getting hurt. 2 days later, another sergeant gets hurt, and he drives his vehicle on an ID, and the vehicle explodes, and it all happens before my eyes. So I see the vehicle going up in the air like dust and stuff like that, and I start running with the medical bag to that place, and come there and see there heavily wounded sergeant on the ground, and stuff everywhere, and just somebody fighting for his life at the moment, and then you have to react and have to save someone's life, and you're doing that with that's your job. But what you're seeing, somebody is screaming, fighting, and crawling for his life, and he's missing a limb, and then stuff like that. So you're just taking it all in seconds, in minutes, and you're just, of course, we're trained good, and we save somebody's life at that moment, but that's so much to process in that moment.
Yeah, you can train a lot, but I can only imagine that being and going through the actual situation is a total different ballgame. And the smell, the sound, the impact, everything, the screaming.
You take it all in, You're just like, all right. But you have to do your job, because after that you have to figure out the security. It's not like, all right, this was not fun. Let's go to the base camp again. No, it's like you're in security. You still have to an hostile environment, because you're still in that place, and so you have to work out all these emotions, all these things. So you shut yourself down. So you shut off your emotions, so you can do your work. But when do you check in those emotions again? I did not really figure it out. Of course, I cried when I came back to the base camp, and I was. You have to realize we were with our vehicle at the exact same location, driving around on that same spot, and nothing happened.
It could have easily been your vehicle, right?
And my wife could have gotten the message from he's not coming home. That was a reality. So that's something all these things you don't process those in the moment. But eventually you just move on and make your tour, and of course a lot of more stuff happens during a tour, and we found like 60 IEDs on patrols. This was always something that was lying there for us in wait, and then you come home. So how do you process everything that happened in coming home? You just pick up life and move on, and then that picking up and moving on resulted for me years later in PTSD.
Wow, and let's dive deeper into PTSD a little later. But if we go a little bit back, you mentioned, my wife at home. When did you meet your wife, Vrouwtje? And when did you meet her? And because I missed the point where you met her, and then she's marrying a Marine, and that's...
Well, that was like maybe a half year prior to Afghanistan that she met me. And
to the second tour, Afghanistan.
Second tour, and that's something what I write about in my book also, because it's really, I really act like a tough Marine and stuff like that, but with girls and women, I'm just not that tough. I was trying. It was always like fun. Oh, maybe she likes me or not, and not making eye contact. So I was really, acting tough, but not that tough. Just being a little bit shy and looking away. And when I met her, well, you've seen her, you've met her, and she's really forward, and she's really like, she knows her place, and she knows you have to.
She's really outgoing, and she's really like
straightforward.
Straightforward.
You can't tell her bullshit, because she's when bullshit happens, she just
I think that's a really good trait, being around you, because otherwise we are champions in fooling ourselves and the world around us, and then all of a sudden you marry somebody who is really straightforward. It's really also a strength within your relationship, right? So, but how long? And then in the second, just a half year before the second tour to Afghanistan, and then you were in Afghanistan. And how long did you have to stay in Afghanistan after the IED exploded, and you have to help your sergeant? And how long did you was the tour until you can finally get home?
It was still 5 months or so. Wow. So it was like in the beginning, So we got hit in the beginning, and it was like after that was like 4.5, 5 months or so.
Oh, that I didn't know. Oh, 5 months.
Yeah.
So still 5 months there.
Yeah.
And a sort of not really being able how to process it. Because you have to be on sharp and on point there every time.
And you're busy, man.
You're busy.
You're just like, we had a reunion a couple of months ago, and the commander there said that even from the command of the Dutch army there was like, are Marines never tired? Are they never, no, we're here to do a job. We do it. Do you have another patrol? Let's go. You have another patrol? Let's go. So that's something, that's something that you're really busy.
And in Dutch,
like.
In Dutch we say, emoties gelul, die kun je uitschakelen. So emotions are bullshit. You can turn them, switch them off.
Yeah, but how do you switch them on?
But also how do you switch them really off? Because you can deny it and you can ignore it, but in the end, ultimately, it's underneath your whole skin. Yeah, the body keeps the score. It's underneath. It's in your body.
It's there. Yeah,
it's the bodily reaction. Yeah. So okay, but then you had to be still 5 months.
Yeah.
In this serious situation, and what did you do in the 5 months in relationship to Vrouwtje? Did you write or call or
no? We could call.
What helped
you? Well, not telling everything that helped. And I called her when of course, the news already cut it up, So I called her and was like, I was there, and I had to cry a little. She had to cry. I was like, all right. She's of course really concerned about it, but we just kept in touch. We just called when I was at the base. I just called, But we're on patrols like 2 weeks, and we cannot call home, so they just have to wait. Yeah, but that's life, and then you come back, and that's So that's how we kept in touch, and but you. Of course, you live 2 different lives.
Yeah, that is, and then the moment you came back to the Netherlands, tell us a little bit about how that works, because you were in a total different timeline, culture. But everything is different, right? From the smell, the temperature, the culture, the whole impact, the buddies you were with. It's a sort of chosen family at that moment, because you have to deal with each other in good times and in bad times.
Yeah.
And then you come in the Netherlands. How does it work?
Yeah, and then you come back, so you're really happy to see each other, of course. That's for a week and a half and maybe 2, and then you start fighting, because you have different lives. So you have to connect again, and that's something that can go wrong, of course, because you have lived a different lives, so you don't understand each other. And she doesn't understand me. And that's something that's impossible, because I've lived a life that's so extreme in that moment. So you cannot comprehend that. That's something, of course, he listens to me and she talks about it. But yeah, that's it. And then life moves on, and you just try to figure each other out along the way. And for me, I was in my marine life and figuring out how I could extend that, and just doing things and doing a couple of shorter tours, and stuff like that, and getting some, but you got all those stories from a period of time, and then you just stop telling those stories because life moves on. And that's something that what I now recognize is something that I shouldn't have done. I should have kept telling the stories and should have figured about what it did to me and how I'm feeling about that day. And because I was always thinking about it, and that's something that, of course, with PTSD and trauma is when it's always there.
Yeah, it's in your head. It's always there.
And it's there when, of course, when certain things happened, like at a Christmas, it's almost Christmas time, so at a Christmas brunch from work from Vrouwke, somebody needed to get attention from people and just smacked 2 great cans at each other. It was like bang, and I was on the ground, it was like already in that fight mode. And that's something that your body just reacts before your mind can figure out what's happening. And but those things, if you talk about your body keeps the score, and if I look in those years after those tours and doing stuff, and when I was working marine stuff, I was doing okay, it was fine. When I was in home, I got more unrest. My body started hurting, physically I was not coping anymore, it was like always struggling, and nothing was the same again after that tour. And I was trying to fit in again. I was searching, but not finding anything, and just moving along away from myself more and more. And it was something I didn't really recognize at first. But when I started having panic attacks and hyperventilation and feeling stress, and I tried to shove it away, and Vrouwke said to me, "You're not feeling fine. I cannot figure out what's wrong with you." Then those are the moments that you start going down, and that then you notice the score. It's really taking. It's really what's happening in your body is that you're not recognizing it. You're not feeling the emotions. You're running away from it.
And then what did you do? Did you call a psychologist and say, "Hey, hi, I'm not okay"? Yeah,
No.
What helped you? Yeah,
I'm a Marine, you know.
Yeah.
So
you don't.
fuck psychology.
Yeah.
No. I was ashamed, of course, having panic attacks and stuff like that. So I wasn't talking about it at work or talking about it to anybody else, and just only Frau knew it. You know, it was like a secret, and that I was struggling. And
Robin, and what happened then when you had a panic attack? How was that? How did that manifest in you? What happened?
Well, it's feeling about dying, you know. It's just like you start choking up, you start having your body just says, all right, I'm shutting down, you know, and you start getting all sensations, and your heart is like exploding sometimes, and then not, and it's in your throat, and it's in your chest, and my muscles started contracting, so my body, the muscles in my belly started contracting. I couldn't control my body anymore. I was like, and I thought I was dying, you know. I was like, all right, this is the end. Well, thank you, and call the ambulance now. Well, then the ambulance arrives, and you're like, okay, there you go on all the equipment, and
I saw the picture.
Yeah, you're like, all right, you're okay. And of course, you're stressing your body, but you're physically okay. I was like, how can I be mentally this weak? You know, it's really criticizing yourself directly, and feeling ashamed about I shouldn't be weak. I should take care of my wife. I should take care of my stuff. I shouldn't be this vulnerable. I shouldn't be here. Now everybody has pity with me. You start doing those kind of stuff.
Not very helpful, those thoughts even.
No, but they happen, you know. And that's how you're wired. So that's how you have to figure it out on your own. And that's something that's beautiful, to figure stuff out on your own, and having that mentality. Just the can-do mentality. But the Achilles of the can-do mentality is that when it happens in your brain, you just shut off and you cannot figure it out alone. It's just something you need help with. And it took a time, and I went to the doctor, I went to the psychologist, but I was there although I went there and they said, yeah, you have PTSD, you know. I was like, oh, now I know what I have. But my will really caved in after that. I was like, fuck, I really fucked up all this time. And now I'm recognizing that all my triggers and stuff like that. So that was really difficult just to accept. And then I felt a lot of self-pity. I jumped in that victimhood. It was always, everybody was concerned about me, and you know, and it was like a blanket of self-pity, I call it, what I wrapped around myself, and that really threw me more down. It was the moment that I started accepting stuff, that I only grew out of it. And it was Vrouwtje who said to me, listen, if you move on with this, then and this way, I cannot live with you anymore.
Okay, that was a really wake-up call, right?
Yeah, and you have to imagine, you know, that PTSD, and of course it derives from trauma, and the trauma that is not healed, and it all just fell apart when my daughter was born, you know, and that was something that's, of course, the most beautiful thing in my life. Was when my daughter, Loa, my oldest daughter, was born. And it was the most hardest part because my world caved in. I could not cope with her. And of course, also there are beautiful moments, but there were really tough moments, you know, when she's crying, I just shut down and I become enraged and stuff like that, and just emotionally not available, and all the things that I just wanted to be as a dad, I couldn't. And then, and feeling ashamed. So your world just... It's such a shit show. It's just such a shit show. And how do you? And the most easy way is just to quit at a certain point. And that's what your mind says. It's just, but what if it's just quitting?
Stops. Yeah.
Then everybody is can move on. You know, because I'm taking my whole family and my daughter down the drain, and she still has to. My daughter still has to heal from it, you know, because when it's young, and it's something so difficult as a father when you don't want to hurt.
No, of course not.
But yeah, you just didn't take care of your shit. So now people around you are hurting, and that's something you have to recognize. I think when we don't take care of our shit, when we don't check in our emotions, when we don't seek out help, we hurt others. And when you say we don't. We do. We really do.
Yeah.
We really do.
And not deliberate, but unconscious and conscious.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
That's a sensitive matter because it makes me feel always makes me realize that in the first few years of the teenage years of my oldest daughter, I was emotional unavailable due to the divorce and the impact and my background. And I was emotional unavailable. And what I did is I thought, okay, I'm emotional unavailable. I noticed that myself. So the one thing I could do is write every birthday, write a letter to her and not send it to her and keep it until her 18th. And she just became 18, and I gave her the letters from 10 years. So she was 8, and it does something for her, and our relationship is getting better and better. Due to her strength, and I'm very thankful for that. But I can imagine because Loa was how old when you were for the first time hospitalized?
She was like 6 months or so, or it was like 6 months to a year, I think. I don't know exactly.
No, and what do you think when you say healing? Yes, I can imagine healing, but what do you think the most? What do you think the healing part? What has to heal? Maybe that's the best.
I think it's the stressful place at home, because
and safety.
And that's something that's something that's being felt. What you can feel. It's not something you can really say, all right, this is it, or you can pick moments. No, it's just the feeling of stress, and that's something the mother experiences. That's something that I experience, and that's something you project on your child. And of course, there's stress in life. But it's how you project it, and if there's fear, if the mother has fear, if there, it's something.
It gets under your skin.
Yeah, and that's something that you see in her, because when she wants to emotions, and she can get really small, and that's something that's derived from that period of time, and of course now we give her, because it's okay, and now it's totally different, so we work on that, and that's something that's beautiful to do. But that time it just it leaves a scar, and it's the responsibility to for us as parents now to give her the room to heal that, and even if she doesn't know, she is healing from it.
But and what I admire in you, buddy, is that you not only acknowledge it, you don't deny it. You acknowledge it. You embrace it. Maybe she will have questions. I know for sure you will be open for whatever conversation she would love to have about it. And but at least you recognize it and you acknowledge it, and you acknowledge her. And that's what I really admire, because that's easy to say, you were so young, and and then wipe it off because it hurts you too much to acknowledge. But you chose the path for acknowledgement. So
but children are a mirror to ourselves.
They are.
Yeah, but that's something, and you have to you can walk away from the mirror, but it will show up every time. And if you don't look at it, if you don't see that, then you're not helping yourself, but you cannot help your people around you if you don't look in that mirror. It shows us something from when we were young, something we've missed, and oftentimes we just, I experienced my youth like this, and I'm going to do it different, because that's often the go-to. But just I stopped doing that. I was like, all right, 3 pillars: love, strength, safety. If those 3 pillars are up, then we're doing okay. Everything extra is a win.
Is a win. Yeah.
But if we can bring back to those, all right, if she feels safe, then that's everything. Loved.
Beautiful.
That's everything. So.
And over to the PTSD and the diagnose. Yeah, okay, then you know what. But then the whole work starts, right? Because and then what?
You start working on your trauma, right? You start to have to figure it out and start having, and PTSD is always running away from your trauma and avoiding it. And you have just doing that for years. So you have to turn that around and start looking at it.
Face it.
Yeah, face it. And that's something I went on in with my Marine mindset. I'm gonna face it, I'm gonna do it. But then I had to. I forgot to accept it. That these are the cards I have now in life, and I have to figure it out, and not have to be I have to be a Marine again, or I have to be the greatest person ever, or the best person alive. No, I just have to be me, and that's something that I came to understand. Is that I have to understand myself to be there for someone else, but also that it's okay that I am not perfect, that I cannot cope with every situation, that I have to take time off, that I have to, and that's when you start figuring out yourself or start understanding yourself, and that's the journey. Just simple, understand yourself, ask yourself the questions. Who am I? Who am I really? What makes me tick? What do I hate? What do I love? What gives me energy? Where does my heart go? How do I feel about these things? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself, and then you can ask them even deeper to yourself, and then you start figuring out. You start understanding yourself, and when you understand yourself, I always said it, then you can be there for someone else because you understand how you work.
And this, I can imagine, this is a path of multiple years. It's a process, and I believe it's a work in progress for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
If you either you have a severe background in childhood or whatever, but it stays a work in progress. If you in this process of becoming aware of who you are, what are the key elements? What helped you? Is that therapy, or what kind of therapy, or is it a combination of whatever? But what helped you?
Well, they're all parts of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But we're often searching for solutions. I think we're always searching for that piece of the puzzle that will end it all, or just will make us feel better.
One size fits all, and does it? Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No. There is not one solution. There is no the solution. It's going back to yourself and accepting yourself. That's the first step, I think. Accepting where you are, and not laying down your arms and saying, "All right, now I'm accepting, and now I'm going down." No, it's like accepting. Where am I in this place? Can I accept where I simply am? I don't have to move forward. I don't have to move backward. This is where I am. This is my place. And that is acceptance. And really, when you reach that point, and I reached that point, then I started feeling more myself again. And that you can describe it as better. But just feeling myself again. And then my world just slowly moved forward in some sort of way. I just started understanding myself better and started looking differently at therapy. And of course I did EMDR, exposure, I did everything, and it all helped in small pieces, but it only helps when you go in there and with the mindset of figuring yourself out and not pushing yourself, but just being you. And I think that really helped me in that aspect.
When listening to you, I hear you say, I have to figure it out a lot of times. And that's, on the one hand, a strength. On the other hand, it also makes me wonder if it's also a sort of loneliness. Because it sounds that you have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Where in this path or in this healing process, was there an opening or started an opening to open up for, hey, I need help? The acknowledgement also, I need help. Because the figuring out, that's your core, that's one of your core strengths. On the other hand, I think you, on one hand, or at one moment you realized, or not one moment, but at the moment you realized, I can't do this alone. I need help.
No, it was the moment, and I was already in therapy. I was doing all the things. I was checking the marks,
Yeah.
Because doing therapy, doing stuff like that was Frau that said, you're not doing fine, You're not accepting, you're not moving on, you're just being that victim, and you're I have to leave you if you move on. It was for me, that was that point that I looked really in my daughter's eyes for one more time. I was like, all right, let's do it different, Let's not be the Marine now. Let's not just as being a dad. If that's the goal, that's the goal. And let's go forward a step a day. And that was helping myself. But I think figuring it out and getting that mindset in from like, all right, nobody's coming to save you. That's okay. It takes responsibility. It makes you feel responsible. But there's a metaphor, and I think that's something I oftentimes use. That's the backpack you carry on in your life, and in that backpack you have all your experiences, and oftentimes it can weigh really heavy, but it's invisible for others, and you carry it around always. And in my opinion, you will always have to carry it with you forever, and that's something you have to figure out how you carry it, and that's when you put it down. And you look what you're taking with you and you share it with someone else, it might feel a little bit lighter along the way. And oftentimes when you put backpacks together with someone else, you see that you have more connection than difference, and they start to feel lighter. And the weight is still the things you carry is still the same, but the weight is different. And that's something you can do just carrying yourself, but share it with others. It makes feel lighter. That's conversation also.
Yeah, of course. And if we look at that whole process, how was it perceived within the Marines, your personal process of healing? And it's not only physical, it's also mentally and psychological. That's always a sort of tension field within the Marines. Like, okay, emotions, we can shut it off and let's go. Was it all okay? There was there were no people looking like, okay, what's wrong? You're physically well, and is it accepted to talk about it freely?
I think
at that point,
I think it's accepted, yeah, but I didn't. But I think the acceptance. Because of stigma, it doesn't. People don't really fast talk about it. But what I experienced when I got therapy, I checked all the marks for your PTSD. All right, you're okay to go. I was like, who the fuck am I now? But all right, we'll go back to the Marines and do my stuff. And I integrated again. But I told myself I'm gonna be open about this, and I'm gonna just be open about this, and to everybody I talk about, and that's something. I made a choice.
Yeah,
because I
deliberately.
I overcame this. I was like, I have so much zero fucks about what everybody thinks right now. I overcame this. I have my wife. I have my daughter. I feel okay now, and whatever comes now, and that's fine. And I was just gonna talk about it, and something I didn't do beforehand. So, and that was something that surprised me, was when I talked about it, people other Marines to say, oh, right, tell me about it. Oh, that's heavy. It sounds heavy. And there was like more a conversation, but they started also talking about their
opening up
themselves. And I was like,
are
we a stupid bunch of fucks, because we're not talking about it, but we have so much in common, and this is something, a bridge. When I talk about it, you can talk about it. I was like, all right, this is something I have to work with, something that we have to do more often. And so you see, there's a lot of acceptance if people take the time to listen to you and understand. And there's always people that won't accept it or think their own ways. And there are still people that hate me nowadays for what I'm doing on mental health and talking about it. And that's fine, That's fine.
Was this the starting point for you? To found Knack and to start 5 Out? And how did it all start? When was it?
It started with the realization from what I told about the backpack, of course.
Yeah.
What's the realization from? Why did I feel so alone in that process? And why did it feel so heavy all the time? And why wasn't there anybody to talk about it? And because I didn't have the energy to go out, and I didn't have the energy to go to base, and I showed myself because I felt ashamed, or I was in therapy and it cost me so much energy and being at home. So I missed my Marine family a lot, and I missed people around me. And I would talk about the psychologist and talk to them about it. And I said, I'll try to figure something out. And 2 weeks later, nothing, And I was like, it's not be taken seriously. And I was like, all right, this is what I experienced. And I think what I experienced, a lot more people experience that too, I think, feeling that alone feeling. And something that maybe I can fix, by being there. And I started running just to give myself structure and not chasing something, not running away, but just giving myself structure. And then I thought at the moment, all right, what if I ran 5 marathons in 5 consecutive days?
Easily.
Yeah, why not? So
5 marathons in 5 consecutive days.
And I never ran a marathon before, and I never ran one before that. And now I was planning to do 5, and my wife was like, "Okay, I think you can do it, but why?" But for me, it was a goal. The goal was just helping one person at a time. So I made an Instagram account and stuff like that, and it's just started posting about real stories. Just panic attacks, fear, all the stuff that's not popular, and that really resonated with so many people that I was like, oh fuck, what is this? Why are we talking about it? And that gave me the strength just to help even more, and the conversations was like first with 1, 10, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, or thousands, in the past years that have come, and just for being there, just posting about fear, just posting real life, and not being the victim, but also showing vulnerability and strength. And that's something that became a mission, that letting nobody feel alone. If I can help you just by being there, and that's something that I do still today, just being there, just asking the question, how are you feeling today? Are you okay? Is there something that I can do for you? And if I can ask these 3 questions to someone each day, then we're helping someone. If we all do that, then we're helping each other.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I think there is so much underneath in ourselves what we don't talk about until, and also I believe, although every journey is unique, you don't have to be alone, and you're not alone.
You're never alone, but you can feel
you
alone.
feel alone. Yeah.
And that's something that I came to understand, is that loneliness is not being by yourself. Can sometimes be by yourself, but it's not being by yourself. But oftentimes it's being with other people around you, but feeling alone. And that's something because you think you are the only one, or that you cannot talk about it, or you feel
ashamed,
unsafe. Because safety is a big thing for you to open up. So then that's when you start feeling alone. But what I say to people, you are not alone. There's always somebody that will listen to you. There's always somebody that will listen to you. And taking responsibility, not being victim, is putting your hand out and maybe falling and crawling back up, and falling and crawling back up. But keep putting that hand out till someone takes it and sees you for you. And then you start not feeling alone anymore. You can move.
Beautiful. And the 5 marathons, and after that, the 250 kilometer in the Namibia desert.
Yeah, the desert. Yeah, of course. There's a lot between that, of course, because
of course,
physical activities that just where I raise a lot of funds and stuff like that for the community and for veterans. So I start doing something good. That was my motto: just do something good, and good things will happen. And that's how I came to in the theaters now, and that's why I wrote my book, and that's why I'm doing all the stuff right now. And in Namibia, the 250k run there was like. It was something that I learned. That's something not by reading, but by learning just by doing. Is that giving oxygen to my life's fire? My inner fire is of course helping people, but just experiencing that flame. I want to be adventurous, so why should I not go to Namibia and not run there and not experience life at its fullest? Of course, when I'm home, I experience it, but I need to be adventurous. This is who I am. And it's understanding myself, is that I don't need always to have physical pain before running so much, but just experiencing life and taking all these, taking life as it is. And it gives me strength to cope with life when you suffer through the desert of Namibia.
Yeah, for sure.
But it shows you also things you just can't reach, and that's the cards what I talked about. Those are the cards that I have. It's difficult for me to reach certain feelings, so I have to put measures there to reach them and to feel that stuff. And when I came back from Namibia, I just cried a lot for like weeks, just a lot of crying. Just.
What kind of emotions came up?
It was in the last day was like 93 kilometers, and it was like in kilometer 70 or so. It was just like you have to understand that it's like 50 degrees Celsius. And that you're just dying when you stand still. You're dying when you're running. So I was just like totally empty from the days before. It was just empty. I was just done. I was done. I was cooked, really. and that's when I started crying. That all those layers just fell down. But it wasn't something that I was like, and my world is caving. It was just something beautiful. It was just like, although the pain, I did something else. The pain with PTSD, and just have room to feel it again. And it was not I didn't feel it weigh me down. It was something that had to be there. It was really beautiful for me, and just cried when I moved on from that 70K point. I was just still crying, and then I just felt free again, and I started completing it. But it just opened another door for me, and that was something that really, helpful in myself, and just couldn't be more with my daughters again. It was like, and it's not like an addictive kind of state you need it again, but just opened the door, and it stayed open, and was like, all right, let it be.
Did it help you to open up also the door to yourself, to your deeper self, and all the layers of trauma and life experience? And is it that kind of feeling?
No, it was more the layer of getting the time to feel that period of time, because that period of time with PTSD and trauma was so heavy, and it was so like, and you, of course, you work with your trauma, but not the feeling that's around it, because that period of time is just the things I did to Frauk, and how she felt and how much pain she experienced, all those things you just, you cannot cope them at once. And that was the moment that it all came out. And that's something that's something that I unexpectedly, because I was just there running for the adventure. And
what can you expect?
Of course, and you have, and when you're running so many hours and stuff like that, of course you have a good talk with yourself and experience things. So you have that talk, but there's something beautiful, in that moment, and that's something I take with me now, and I don't think everybody should go run in the desert in Namibia for that. I don't
not
think
necessarily.
No. But the core value that's there is that you have to do stuff and reach out and make yourself sometimes uncomfortable, or do new stuff, try new things that show you another image, and that's something. And that's something that I take away, and that's something what life's fire is, levensvuur, is that just give oxygen to that little flame in you, where you energize and do something you didn't do before, or you think you cannot, and just try it with small steps. And those small steps, maybe you don't get that end goal you figured out, but you get something else.
And I can easily talk for hours with you about the whole life experience, but for now we have to head towards the last part of our conversation for now. And what I'm really curious, Robin, is you were not a fanatic in reading, right? No.
Well, that when I was younger, yes. But I just let it go after that. Yeah. All
right. And then at some point in your journey, all of a sudden you wake up and you think, I'm going to write a book. Or not? How did that? Is it a gradual process, or was it like, I can almost imagine you like one day you think, I'm going to write a book. Boom.
Well, it's about being uncomfortable. Well, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, is it the process?
Well, no, you're like, all right, I think I can do it. But when you start, then you started to know how much work it is, just how much work it is, and that's something that I didn't really size up beforehand. So, but it was already sharing stories on Instagram, LinkedIn. I was writing a lot, and people liked my writing style. So I was like, hey. And I was doing something good with it, and that was something that I wanted to do with my writing, but I never. Somebody came up to me and said, like, you should write a book about it, and I was like, okay, I don't worry, I get the time, and I'm doing fine with this, the way I'm doing it right now, so it's all good. And a half year later, a friend of mine, Di Carter, came to me and said, and now, how are you feeling about that book? And I was like, yeah, I'm just I think it's time. I just felt like it, I think it's time. Let's do it. I said, all right. And I was like, you have to go to this place. And we talked to the editor and stuff like that. And it was like going in and signing the contract.
And then it went in rapid mode, right?
Yeah. And then I was thinking like, all right, I have to write a book. All right, I want to do 500 words a day. And I was like, all right, small steps. It was a whole plan. But then I had to... And then the plan just goes tits up because it doesn't work that way, because I'm writing stuff that's really raw, really authentic, really sometimes really heavy to write, and just like you have to figure it out along the way. And then I started enjoying the writing, and that just made it happen. So and when the pressure was on, I had a deadline. Then I excelled in it. So when the pressure is on, I do my best.
And was the name from the very first start already the name, or what helped you to pop up the name? That's how my brain works. It just starts creative modus, and then it starts just figuring it out along the way. And somewhere during the day, I was like, "That's it. That's it. Levensvuur."
Yeah, Levensvuur. That's it. It was like, this is the summary of what I want to tell the story. It's
maybe you can share a little the outline of Levensvuur, because we will put, of course, a link in the show notes about the book. And we're publishing this one, our conversation, at the 7th of January 2025, and the publishing of the book, or the launch of the book, is on the 14th of January.
Yeah.
So I can imagine a lot of people hearing this episode are getting curious. But what is the outline of the book?
Well, it's a little bit of what I would talk today. It's my youth to getting a Marine, but also taking a deep dive into my missions and to also fun moments, but also just how it shaped me. And then we go to Afghanistan and we talk about that. And after that, we go to the darker periods of life, and then the beauty is in there when it's only darkness and I find the light there and I follow that light, and it's a small speckle of light, and it's a book of hope. And then gets a beauty, and I take you with me on those 5 marathons. And we didn't talk about it, but the ending of 5 marathons, how beautiful that is, and how it really, when I embraced life's fire, how it shaped my life and how I'm now today, because that's the book. Yeah, it's I wrote it myself. It's I call it autobiography. I think. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And it has reflective moments in it. Yeah.
And you said something. You mentioned we didn't talk about it. What specific moment we didn't talk about it? Maybe it's good to.
Well, it's something you have to read, I think.
Okay. We keep it as a little hidden seducer in the book.
Well, it is what I said earlier. It's like you take small steps, and this is your end goal. But but setting that goal and not reaching it is something more beautiful came into place, and that's something. What is the strength of a journey?
Mm-hmm. And then you're now in the middle of the process of recording your own audiobook also.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. A Marine and an audiobook and writing a book. And so there will be available an audiobook. There will be a digital version, and there will become, of course, a physical version.
Yeah,
I will share the paperback. I will share in the notes, and
of course we're in theaters.
Yeah.
So we got 6 shows in theaters in the Netherlands. Starting February. So
yeah, I'm a little bit biased. I went to 2 tours. The first one, and the 14th of December 2023 was the first one. Yeah. I vividly remember the feeling. Because I remember things centered around what feeling that I had at that moment, and I can remember it was warm in the theater, but I was really I think 30-40 minutes of with goosebumps all over. It was deep. It was profound. It was with Nordin on the
piano.
On the piano, it's beautiful, your story, and then the impactful images behind you while telling your story. You are going to do a tour in 2025. You're starting in Nijkerk, I think, in February somewhere, and then moving on to
Den Helder, Roosendaal, Ede, around the Netherlands.
All right, and the tour is also on your website, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we will share that also in the website. And what's next? Can you share also, because you make me always curious every time we meet each other. Oh yeah, Michiel, there is something, but what can you tell? Because of course there are things in the planning that we can't talk about right now, and we keep it secret. What's next? Because I've the feeling that you are warming up. You're already doing a lot of impressive things, and I'm a biased fan from the very first day we met. I think you're just warming up. I can see you easily doing a film and doing this is the beginning. You're at.
Yeah, I don't know, and we talked about it prior to the show.
Yeah.
I was like, what's your dream, and I was like, my dream is just when my kids are healthy at school, always at school now, when my kids are healthy, I have a roof above my head, my wife is happy, we are happy, not all the time, but just having a good life. And we're having a good life, we can do fun stuff and we're living life, then my dream is fulfilled. Of course, I have ambitions, and those ambitions drive me. There's a part of me, but I always come back to my dream and just being there with my daughters and my wife, and just living my life at that moment. And I think when you have your base camp there, and that's your dream, everything else is a win extra.
Beautiful, beautiful, and I think we can't wait to the 14th of January. It's from now on. It's still. It sounds like a long time, but it's almost there.
Yeah.
So looking forward to the launch, and looking forward to publish this one. And thank you very much, Robin, for being here and being so open and vulnerable. And because maybe one thing what pops up is that. Physically, you are a very impressive Marine, but from the inside, you're really, it's a superpower. Your vulnerability is a superpower. It became a superpower. I don't know if you feel that the same way yourself, but I see that as a superpower, don't you?
Well, it helped me shape my life really, and I don't call it a superpower because oftentimes I always have those voices in my back of my head, like that always imprinted in me, weakness and stuff like that. I have to be strong. So they're always there, but I know to recognize them. I know how to work with them, and I think vulnerability, openness, honesty, I think drives them. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and looking forward to the 14th of January for the launch of your book.
Yeah, man. Nice.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.